Okay, I think we are live. I'm just going to check this volume right here. And it says it is up. All right.
All right.
Well, hello, everyone. I am Crystal Richardson, Dr. Crystal
Dr.
Richardson. Yes.
Crystal.
And I am here with Nancy Alert. How are you doing?
I am doing fabulous. How about you?
I'm doing good. You guys speak up, Miss Nancy. I'm all
Oh,
loud, and you're like, I'm doing
I think they can hear me. I am doing fantastic. How about you, Dr. Crystal?
I'm doing good, doing good. So Nancy is here in Arizona.
Yeah.
And when Sally was here, I'm so sorry, Sally. When she was here, I was not able to get in touch with her, and to meet with her when she was here. But Nancy came, and we said, well, we could just meet and do our live on financial literacy here at the studio. So thank you for coming to the Uplift Center.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Awesome, awesome. So welcome to Weekly Words of Wisdom, brought to you live by WOIII, and that is Women of Impact and Innovation International, where we honor wisdom and we build up the next generation of powerful and innovative professional women leaders. Each month, we will have a focus on one topic, and each week, we will dive in on different aspects of that topic. So today in this month of June is financial literacy and investing.
Yes.
And this is one of Nancy's specialties. And so we are happy, like I said, to be here with you to talk about that. All right. So with that being said, as our little opener, I want to get into the word preparedness. So what does preparedness mean to you?
It means that it's when they say you don't have to get ready because you're always ready, right? So I never have to get ready because I'm always unready, meaning that you're prepared because you know where all your financial papers are. You and your spouse, your significant other have communicated and you know where everything is. So you're prepared for an emergency. You're prepared for if something happened unexpectedly, you are ready because you know where everything is. You know where the keys are to the safe deposit box. You know whether you have life insurance and with what company and where is
With
the
what,
policy.
what type of policy.
What type of
that.
policy. And that's
So-
more important too.
Yeah,
What
that's
type
really,
of
really
policy.
important. So Nancy and I, we were talking. She arrived here at the center like several hours ago. Now we had to go eat, and we were just talking about different things that have come up, different scenarios that were like real life scenarios, different things that have happened with people that we know, and we're like, wait a minute. This is Financial Literacy Month, and the things that we're talking about, we could actually talk about on the show.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to name any names to protect the innocent, right? But we both have had experiences where, we've had to help people and as clients or coach them and counsel them related to various things that have happened because they were not prepared for emergencies.
Right.
And so the first point related to preparedness and financial literacy is knowing where things are. And so that's what she was saying as far as like, the different policies and let's just
Checking
talk about that a little
account.
bit. So one of the main things we were talking about was, do you even have a will or a trust?
Right.
And does anybody know about it other than
Right.
the person who helped you prepare it? So let's just talk about that a little bit. Like, how important is it to have a will?
It is very important to have a will and a trust, and especially if you have young children, and especially if you own property. You don't want to go to probate. Create a will, make your wishes known, and most importantly, I believe everyone should have a trust. Whether it's a revocable or irrevocable, you contact your attorney to discuss which one is best suited for you and your specific situation, but you should have one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, some of the stories we were talking about before we went to eat had to do with different things that happened with people that we know that did not have those in place. And so part of that, it just kind of like hurts my heart, knowing that you're in the most vulnerable state at that point. The person is gone, and then everybody's just trying to figure everything out. No one had any conversations as far as like, where are these important documents? And we're saying in a state of an emergency. So no one knows when it's going to be their time to go. Right. And so it could be like my husband and I, we're going to be taking a trip. So somebody should know where something is in case something happens because we're both going to the same place. Or just like that, somebody could just have an accident, car accident, or
Mhm.
anything, and they're in the hospital in a coma, and they can't answer
Right.
anyone in the family on what are the passwords, where are the keys, like what do we even have.
Yeah.
So that second point of preparedness is sharing that information. And so what would you say about sharing?
I would say in every relationship you decide who's going to be responsible for doing what. But what, and I think only one person should be the one that's paying the bills, because you don't want all the confusion. One person pay the bills. However, everyone should know the account, how many accounts you have, what the balance is, what monies are going in and out. Everyone should know that. And most importantly, if you have small children, you have to decide, what if something happened to you? I have a friend, and his best friend and wife died in a car accident last year, together, and they had
Oh,
children.
wow.
The question is, everyone say untimely death. Well, every death is untimely, because
Right.
every death is untimely. We don't know when it's going to happen. So if you don't do anything, this is what you do, especially if you are the caregiver, you're the spouse that everything, the financials is coming from you. It is your responsibility to make sure you have your 401k set up, your life insurance, because what you want to ask yourself, who will be responsible for all the bills and all the debts and everything that I will leave when I die? Who is responsible for that? And did I do my part to make sure that the person that's responsible for it is taken
Yeah,
care of?
yeah, and I want to just jump in there. There's all different kind of policies, and
Mhm.
whether we're talking about like an IUL or whatever, the part of this too has to do with the situation that I have some friends going through, that you can have where attached to that you have something related to long-term care.
Yes.
And so when we're talking about long-term care, again, it's not something that is going to come up like a year and a half from now. It's just boom, it happens. And then either you yourself or someone that is in your family that you have a policy with is going to have long-term care. And that could mean that they have to have 24-hour service.
And
It
who's
could
paying
mean
for
just
it?
like during the day. And so having where you have this at least understood, and what have you set aside from that for that? What have you set up for that? So long-term care is another area of preparedness.
And please prepare early, because the younger you are, the less expensive it is, and the more um, easily it is for you to obtain the policy. Please don't wait. You don't get insurance when you need it. You get insurance when you don't need it. So when you do need it, you have it. Because when you need it, you can't get it because you already have a situation,
Right.
and
A
either you can't pre-existing, or
condition.
even if you get it, it might be so expensive you choose not to pay for it. But long-term care, because we're living longer, we
Right.
are.
Right.
So please take care of
And
yourself.
just like that, something could happen. And so if you're on here listening and you want to ask a question, we could see if we could potentially answer it, or we can find someone who can. And whether it's now or hashtag replay, that would be great, because this is Financial Literacy and Investments Month. And so for this particular one, we're talking about preparedness. So know where all of your documents are. Have it in one spot. Sometimes people make an actual physical binder, or you have an electronic binder, and have at least one person in your family or your attorney or whomever who you trust that will have all of that information, so that in case something happens, they will be able to get to it easily. And then families don't have to bicker, and there doesn't have to be lawsuits. There's not somebody who can go and squat in a multi-million-dollar house, and they're there. They can squat, and it's not even illegal. And then so they now have control over that property. And so if all of this is already all outlined, then it just makes it better on everyone, so that you don't have to go through some of the kind of situations we were talking about
and they
earlier.
don't have to think about it. So, Crystal, when you said, Dr. Crystal, when you said that the forms that you should have to be prepared, whether you have the long-term disability, whether you have short-term disability, whether you have life insurance, one of the things that you should definitely have is a medical directive, and that's part of your preparedness, because what you don't want is already a hard time for your family,
Right.
and you don't want them to have to make decisions. You want them to know, I've already made my decision. Here it is written down. All you have to do is give it to the doctor. You don't have to make a decision. We don't want to have, I don't know, it's been several years, the Terry Shivo, where they were fighting about the husband said she told him she did not want to be hooked up to machines, and the parents said no, she never said that. Well, if you write it down, you have a medical directive. There's no disputing
Right.
what you're.
Right.
There's no
And
disputing.
even the donation of organs and things like that. We're talking about
Mhm.
financial literacy, but I
Right.
mean, all of this has to do
Right.
with what the
Preparedness.
person has said that they
Mhm.
wanted to have.
Yeah.
And so in my case, it was, one of my dear friends had where she put us over the trust, my
Mhm.
husband and I over the trust. And so the financial aspect of what they would have gotten, at that time, they wouldn't, because they were young children. But we were able to take that money and invest and have where we were able to grow the money. So by the time they were 21, they would have really, really, a great financial future at that time. So unfortunately, my girlfriend did pass away. It wasn't that she was thinking that she was when she set all that up, but she said that she wanted to have where she knew her children would be taken care of. So she
Preparedness.
put in place that trust. And unfortunately, it was something tragic that happened to her. But guess what? She had provision for her children, for her 3 small children. They're now grown, and we were able to do that for her. So knowing where all that is, and then have open conversations about it. So even with myself, we've had some very, very minor conversations with my 2 daughters. They're now 28 and 30. But on Mother's Day, I was like all boohooing and stuff. It's like, well, I just wanted to talk to you all and just thank you all for being my daughters, and having where I'm a mother because of you. But we need to talk about some things, as a family, and go over a few things for if something does happen to us, because we're getting older. Everyone's invited to my birthday party next year. I'm turning 60.
Yay!
So, but we're getting older.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to have that conversation with them.
It's the hard
Nancy,
conversation.
to say, okay, we're going to have to go over with you, like where certain things are. And we do have a will, we have trust, we have different things with our financial planner, and blah, 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 blah. And so having those conversations openly. So yes, you have what's in writing, but it shouldn't be this the secret, and that's their first time seeing and hearing it.
Exactly. But I think a lot of us are afraid to have these hard conversations. And they're hard conversations because nobody wants to talk about death and dying. But I keep saying, the last time I checked, nobody's making it out alive. So, and you don't know when your day is. So please have those hard conversations. This is where everything is. These are my wishes. You don't have to do anything. I picked out the song I want. I picked out where, have those conversations about your life and how you want to go out.
Right.
You have to have those conversations. Be prepared. Be prepared.
So, like, I love to dance, and I love to travel all over the world, and I love like various types of attire and whatnot. So I've said, do not spend thousands of dollars on a casket.
Oh.
And my husband's mom was like, but you can't just have a wood box. I'm like, you can't tell me what I can have and not have, even though I won't be there.
Right.
But I want it to just be covered with all of the materials from like a lot of my different outfits. I want to just have it be like really, really colorful and be covered with all the materials.
And
it
wrote
can
that
just
down?
Be, yeah. So it can be a wood box because it's going to be covered. And so with all the material, and my little stuffed animal Clyde that my mother and father gave me when I was in college. I was having a hard day, and they drove to my college and gave me Clyde. He's going to be in there with me. So yeah, I have like all this stuff written down.
See,
it's going to be a party. It's
Oh.
not going to be a traditional service. I want people dancing and singing and just having a good time. Maybe do a little bit of exercise.
Do a little bit of dance because you love to dance. And that's
dance,
the thing.
yeah.
And you let people know you want it to be truly a celebration of life.
And we're talking about preparedness.
And this is all preparedness. You
Right.
truly want it to be a celebration of life. So it's not crying and sadness because you've lived a great life, right?
Yeah.
And this is how I want to go out.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about the preparedness, if you already have a life insurance policy, every so often you need to take a look at it and see if it's still working for
Exactly.
your life as it is now, because you might have gotten it when you were in your
Mhm.
20s, 30s, or 40s, and now you're in your 50s or 60s. It may not any longer work for you. You might need to upgrade it or
And
whatever it
you
is you
you
need to
did a
do.
whole bunch of years that you kind of skipped over, because I'm saying like every 2 to 3 years, because things happen in people's life. And so we did have this one lady, like she was going to be leaving, how many ever thousands of dollars
Mhm.
to a particular person in her family.
Mhm.
But then that particular person was not the same person that they were. And so she went in and made some changes. And
Mhm.
so she was like, well, why would I give, that particular person
Mhm.
that amount of money when
Right.
they're not even in my life anymore?
Right.
And
Right.
it just all shifted within a 2 to 3 year period.
Mhm.
So have where you just have some kind of calendar notice, a reminder notice, because that's very important. And if the person gets it, you just say God bless them and hope that they use it
In a
in a
good
good
way.
way.
Right.
But you can have where you are looking at that information, just like Nancy said,
Yeah.
and update it whenever you need to. So before we run out of time,
Mhm.
which we're still doing good on time, I want to
Mhm.
talk about the third point of preparedness.
Mhm.
Was I want you to talk about having your name on documents.
Oh man, I sometimes I know I'm not an attorney, but I play one on TV. That's what I say to my clients, because when a client comes to me and they're purchasing properties and they're not married, first of all, it's my opinion that if you're not married, you shouldn't be buying real estate together. It's a big purchase, and who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. But anyway, if you choose to purchase real estate when you're not married, and even if you are married, make sure, and you might be the spouse that is not working. Make sure your name is on the deed. You don't have to be on the loan in order to own the property. So I like to say you own it without the responsibility of paying for it. So make sure whenever you're buying a property, and if your husband is like, well, I'm on the loan, so don't worry about it. No, 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 no. We own it together. I'm on the deed, you're on the deed, but you're the only one on the loan.
Right.
And we own it tenants by the entirety, which means that should something happen to either one of us, we don't have to do anything. It automatically flows to the other person. So definitely when you're buying real estate, even if you're not on the loan and you're contributing money, or even if you're not contributing money but you are a spouse, make sure you're on the deed. Make sure you're on the deed.
Make sure you're on the deed. And not just on the deed, like there's a lot of other things that excuse me, we can have our names on. And so
Bank account.
so if ladies, okay, this is a women's group, but anybody can be watching this, okay? So this is for everybody. It could because it could be the woman that's doing it, and the man doesn't have his information on there. So this doesn't go one way. But ladies, come on, come on. You need to have your information on these documents. And if at all possible, being old fashioned, yeah, go ahead and get married. But if you don't, like, everybody's different, okay? But have your name on it. Now, we're talking about red flags. You might be getting a red flag if you say, okay, babe, hon, we're not married, but we're going in on this together and we're using a portion of my money, maybe even more of my money than of his money, of her money than his money. And he's like, oh, no, I'll just do XYZ. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Red flag.
So think about it, and don't get bullied into going ahead and having where it's only his name, like, oh, we're going to be together forever and we're going to be getting married next year and this and that. Nancy had a story where now the other lady is living. Go ahead and tell.
So, because I have a couple of clients that, they purchased a property
so bad
with someone else, and it was their money, and the person purchased the property in their name. The man purchased it in his name with her money, and then now he's moved on, and her name is not on anything. How do you now go forward and say, because when you're happy, you're happy. When it's all good, it's all good. And when it's bad, it's bad. Because now he's gone on his own with his other person. How do you now go claim that you own half of this house, or actually you own more than half of that house? How do you do that? and there's no loan, it's free and clear, it's
Mhm.
appreciated. How do you claim that now? You can't. So what I'm saying is, and I understand when you're in love, when we're in love, we think that it's disrespectful, or it might be whatever for you to mention a prenup, for you to mention I want my name on something. It is
Right.
a stupid person, a person that does not understand financials correctly, that says, oh, we're in love, we don't need a prenup. Well, a
Mhm.
person that has nothing will say that.
Mhm.
Will
Yeah,
say we
yeah,
don't need a
and
prenup.
don't take her words wrong. She said it's a stupid person. She's just trying to get across the
I
point
am right.
that we need to do better. Like when we know better, we can do better. And we're going
Yes.
to be talking about some of this at the summit, like shameless plug, right? At
Yes.
the Powerful Women Summit
At the end of
in
August.
Pittsburgh, August 25th through 27th. Because ladies, if we know better, we definitely can do better. And
Yes.
because one of the people that's coming is Michelle Seiler Tucker, and her book is Exit Rich. Now, how are
Mhm.
we going to exit rich when our name is not on anything?
Anything. Our name is not on
So,
anything, and we don't know where the checking, how to
yeah,
get to the checking
yeah.
account. We don't know whose name is the cars are titled in. We
The
have to.
titles,
We
deeds,
have to make
agreements.
sure
Yeah,
that we understand. It's not, I'm hoping or I think we're going to get a divorce. No
yeah.
one goes into marriage thinking that,
Right.
right? You think
Joint
it's going
bank
to be for
accounts.
joint bank accounts, because if you have, this is a little note. If you have your bank account and you titled it tenants by the entirety, should your spouse pass, you don't have to do anything. That automatically comes to you. Also, a little known secret, if you have your bank account titled tenants by the entirety, if somebody's coming after your husband or your wife for money that they owe, they cannot come to that account, because that account is owned by you two, and they don't know how much money belongs to him or her, so no one can get to it. So protect your asset, protect it.
Preparedness is
Yeah.
the topic for today. And we stumbled upon this because we were just talking about some things over water when we were
Yeah,
both starving. And so we were
yeah.
like, she's like, well, we could talk about this on the show today. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, we can. And it's something I really, really think will help people. And there are various lists. And if you are a person who wants to get more information on that, I know, see, I'm already saying Dr. Nancy.
Because I told her
Dr.
today
Nancy
somebody's
is
going to be calling me Dr. Nancy.
so Nancy has information. I have information as well on the different things that you should put together to
Mhm.
have them have
Yeah.
this preparedness in
Yes.
place. And so we will be going over this at the summit.
At the summit.
So we're not going to give it to you on
Right.
Facebook. You need to come to the summit in
Mhm.
August in Pittsburgh
Yes.
for August 25th through 27th. We would love to have you. And at the bottom of the screen is the Women of Impact and Innovation, the website, womenoiii.com. WOMEN, the letter O, I.com. You can get more information on there about that. And so just to recap, we've talked about know where all your documents are.
Yes.
And then share where your documents are.
Yes.
And then we've also talked about having your name on the documents.
Mhm. Yes.
And then the last point we want to just touch on briefly is in relation to investments.
Investments. Ladies, this is our time. It is our time. And like Dr. Crystal said, we're talking to women and men, but this is a women's forum. So,
Yes.
ladies, this is the time. If you've ever thought, I'm interested in getting involved in investments, reach out to us. This is your time. You can do it. You can do it. You can create your own wealth, whether it's in real estate, whether it's in multifamily, whether it's in short-term rentals, whether it's in stocks, Bitcoin, whatever. This is your time. Stand up, take a bow, and say, I'm going to do it right now.
And it doesn't take a large investment.
No, it does
like
not.
to get started.
It
so
does
you
not.
can go big, but it's not like where the saying is go big or go home.
Right.
That's not for investments. Like you can just
You
have a low
little.
risk tolerance, because you
Mhm.
need to understand that too, the whole risk tolerance aspect of it. So if you're not even clear what that even is, or or how that works in investing, then you can learn about it. There's like lots of different courses,
Right.
and we are going to be having some things in one of our anthology books is going to be related to each and every board that we have. So the wealth and investment group, just telling you now, you'll be doing a book.
Right, we'll be doing a book.
We'll be doing a book, related to all of these topics. But just start small if you're not sure.
And if you're afraid, then you can see, collaboration should be your new word for this year. Collaboration or joint venture, right? Because if you're afraid, you can come together with someone that's already done that, is doing it on a large scale, and you can pool your money, your small amount.
Go ahead.
You can pool your small amount, and then you're involved in a big thing. I'm going to give you one example. Well, Grant Cardone, Mr. 10X, he bought a 300 and something unit place in Florida, and I invested with him. I would not be able to buy that. It was millions and millions of dollars for that property in prime real estate. But I pooled my little funds with him, and now I'm an investor with Grant Cardone. You can pool your money with someone that's already established and been doing this and know what they're doing, and you get started that way. So that way, you're not going to lose your money.
Okay, I'm sitting here trying to be quiet because I'm like, I'm waiting to say what I have to say. Okay, so listen. We're talking about investing, and she's talking about, partnering with other people. And if you don't know, and if you think that they know, you think they know, you're not really sure if they know or not. There are a lot of fast talkers out there that want your money. They want you to invest with them, and they don't really have the background. It looks like they do, but if you've seen American Greed, if you've seen 2020 or 60 Minutes or any of these different shows, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors out there. So there's one thing that I do, and since we're talking about this, I'm going to bring it up. I'm not trying to have like a shameless plug here, kind of a time, but the website, reduceinvestmentrisk.com. reduceinvestmentrisk.com. You need to write that down. And if you want to have where you understand, do they understand the risk related to that particular investment, you can ask them if they wouldn't mind having a risk pro forma done. And if you want someone to invest in something that you're doing, this reduced investment risk goes both ways, because you can have where you get a risk pro forma and understand your risk profile for your company, so that you can say, yes, I would like you to invest in our company, and we have done this particular kind of assessment. Here's a copy of it. And this particular thing is low risk because of XYZ. And sometimes it can have 5, 10, 20, 30, or even 40 areas of risk that we look at in that particular part of my company. So look at that and see if it's something that you would be interested in. And even if you're not, have where you understand the risk. Because you're building it's a multi-unit, multi-family unit that's built on an area in that particular city where there's a groundwater issue. And so part of those units are going to shift, and there's going to be cracks in the wall. So, there's all different kind of things that are going on. And so don't get caught up in the hype of, I'm not saying anything about Grant Cardone. I'm just saying, don't get caught up in the hype of anyone who's asking you to invest in something. And you're like, oh, okay, wow, that sounds like really great. And then you go and do it, and you haven't read anything about the group. You don't know anything about their background. You don't know anything about, what they've potentially done to look at some of these risks. And if you ask some of the types of questions that we ask, then they're like, oh my gosh, they're pretty savvy. Or, it makes you sound like a more savvy investor as well, if you understand this risk terminology.
You do have
reduceinvestmentrisk.com.
Yes. reduceinvestmentrisk.com. You do have to do your own homework. You don't just jump in. You don't jump in. You're not buying gum.
Yeah.
You're not buying gum. You're investing, and this may be the largest investment of your life. So do your due diligence. Don't just listen to them because they say,
But some people
I've
don't know
done
how.
this.
They don't even know what due diligence is.
Then you call Dr. Crystal and I, and we will help you through the process, right? This is what I do. This is what I've done for 27 years, is help people invest in real estate and create wealth. This is what you do. You do your homework. And even me, I've been doing it for 27 years. You should have questions, right? And if you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know. So you reach out to me and I'll send you some questions that you should ask.
That will be in the anthology book
Exactly.
of Women of Impact and Innovation International by the Wealth and Investments Board.
Right, exactly. Or you can come chat with me at the summit in August 25th to 29th, right?
25th to 27th.
August 25th to 27th in Pennsylvania. Come hang out with us. You're going to get all this great information about financing, about wealth building, about health, about everything, right? Eating right? Eating right. I just found out some things I didn't even know. Learn about eating right, about getting the right investments, and even about getting out of your own way, changing your mindset. The summit last year was phenomenal, and this year it's going to be next level. So you should check it out, WOIII.
Yes, thank you. So I think we're done for today. We were talking about preparedness, and we've said that a number of times. Hopefully you got something in this that will help you to be more prepared from a financial perspective if there's an emergency, because we've talked some about insurance and knowing the different kinds of insurance policies, because it hurts my heart too. Like, people have a policy, but then it what does it even cover?
It doesn't
like
cover
anything.
anything.
They don't even understand, so having that knowledge, that information, and then about trust and your will, and what are your medical wishes, like all of these things can help you be prepared. Knowing where your documents are, like we said, sharing that information with someone so that when something happens, it's not a surprise and then people can't find anything. That's really hard on those who are left. So having those conversations,
where people
can find those things and shut down accounts and things, so that there's not money continuing to come out of the account because no one's there to shut it down. And that's I'm talking to myself, because I have a million email accounts and all these different things. And then the last thing we talked about were having your name on various types of agreements and deeds and things. And then also we talked a little bit about investing and reduceinvestmentrisk.com.
It's Financial Investment Month, June. So this is the month for you to you should do some really research on what types of investments you might want to get involved with. And it could be safe things, but it could be aggressive, it could be just, it's like they say, do not wait to be completely perfect in anything. Like Nike say, just do it. You have to start, and then you can perfect it later. But if you're waiting for perfection, you will never get started. So get started now with a little, and then perfect it later so you can raise it to the next level.
All right. So we are at 30 minutes. That went really fast. So thank you for joining us today. And we hope that there was some type of innovative nugget that helped you on today, and something that you can take action towards an even greater life. Join us each week, either live or #replay. And for more information and to join us as a moderator, a board member, or to attend our annual Powerful Women Summit, you can get more information at womenoiii.com. That's WOMEN, the letter OIII.com. And you will be contacted by either our executive liaison, Sabrina Protic, or myself. I am the founder, Dr. Crystal Richardson, and we can give you more details. So we hope you have a great remainder of your week and weekend, and continue to live each day unapologetically with honor and gratitude. And remember to keep rising, because woman, You are powerful. You are powerful, Miss Nancy.
You are powerful, Dr. Crystal.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you all, and have a good night.